Huntsville, Alabama. You know we've got space camp and rockets and government contractors, but did you know we have one kick-ass music scene that doesn't get near enough attention? Well, that's about to change. Welcome to Uprising, a podcast about the people that make Huntsville's music scene so cool. Hosted by me, Bill Fowler, Huntsville native and lifelong musician. So strap on that guitar, flip on that amp, and crank it all the way up. You've just joined the Uprising.
So, Kira and Alli and Kati from Seeking Babylon was like my number 3 phone call when I got this idea, because I've seen you play a bunch. We played together one time at the beer thing. What was that?
Pro Bono Brews.
Yes. Pro Bono Brews. So you had to be much louder. Pro
Bono Brews.
Yeah. We had a great time. That was us and who else was there? Keating Johns. Did he play with us? Freddie was there. Freddie played with us.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Keating played after it. Like we kind of opened. We kind of all played on the stage that day. It was really fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Any gig at a beer festival? Can't go wrong. Well, again, thank you tons for being here. If you know local music, then you have. If you haven't seen them play, you have heard of them. You guys are a marketing engine. You play all the time, and you're really good at making sure that people know who you are, where you are, and what you're doing. Yeah, you would think that's easy these days, but it's really not. It's a constant. Well, I know it's a constant.
Right. It still takes some effort.
It's a constant thing. I wanted to get you here and just kind of highlight, what you're doing. Talk about where you're playing, how people can see you. I mean, that's kind of easy stuff. But I'm also really interested, but because your arrangement is a little unusual, to kind of understand how you met, how that came about, how you establish what the roles are, and just you have percussion, in the group, which I think is really cool. You don't realize what that adds until you don't hear it. I mean, I'm playing solo, and then when you suddenly hear what you guys do, you're like, how can I get a? Anybody out there play a drum? It adds so much.
It's kind of funny that you say that, because there's been times where I couldn't go, where I was going to meet them later because they had another gig to do before we met for a later one, and they were like, "We really missed you. We were missing parts here and there, and it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not more effort as a guitar player to have to play by yourself or just carry all of it and do the extra percussive stuff." Well,
what's interesting about listening to you, and I watched several of your videos that you have on YouTube today, is that you kind of rely on each other. So that it's not like that one person carries and like when you allows you to go do guitar stuff while you're doing the thing, and then there's all vocals and some. I mean, it's you play off each other really well, which is noticeable and adds to your total kind of presentation. The other thing that I think is really great as a musician, people who are musicians that come see you play appreciate the songs that you do, and appreciate that. I think you picked a lot of those songs because they do highlight a lot of your talents, and they're not easy. These are not easy songs to do. Vocally or musically. Anyway, I've said all these wonderful things about you. Now let's talk about how this all came to be. How long have you been playing together?
It's been about 3 years now, I guess.
Yes.
Total.
Seeking Babylon.
Yeah, it's coming on 3 years, I guess.
Okay, so who was first? What got started first?
Well, it really all got started at Miller's Tavern, believe it or not. A friend of mine knows Jill, Nikki's daughter, and they were looking for some acoustic entertainment. She called me up and said, "Hey, you need to contact these guys and see if you can get in there." So I contacted them and asked Kira if she wanted to go play it with me. So, because we had played before in the past in bands and stuff, and it went over really, really well.
Yeah.
And we had an amazing crowd, and they loved us and just kept getting us to come back, and it just, we kind of,
Getting gigs other places.
right, other people were hearing about us at that point, and
It was just the duo at that time.
right, we were still just the duo,
Mm-hmm.
and it just went really well.
We did that for about a year or so, and then Katie graduated nursing school at that point in time and got a life back. life again, basically, is what
Yeah.
that means. I got to crawl out and see the
Yeah.
sun.
It's like, oh, it is my sister again. Who knew? So she came out and said, basically, she called up one night and said, hey, I'm going to come play percussion at your show tonight. I said, okay, great, come on out. So I told Alli, hey, Katie's going to come out and play. So she came out and she played, and it went well, and a lot of people enjoyed it. And made mention of it to us, and so we're like, well, I guess we'll have to get a tip jar at least tonight. And so paid her, and then the next show came about, and she says, hey, I want to come out again to your show. And we're like, okay, great. So we gave her the tip jar again. We had a bigger crowd that night, and we were like, I guess we're going to have to start paying her.
Yeah.
So it kind of turned into the Alli, Kira, Katie show. We're like, we got to find a band name because it's just not working to throw out the show name. So you can about one came about that point.
Let me ask you about this first gig again. So the origins of this were you got a call from somebody to, hey, come play,
Right.
which happens, and then you're like, okay, well, it's your book, so it's your set.
Yeah.
And suddenly, and I guess I don't know what it's like at Miller's, but some places you're 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you take 2 healthy breaks or whatever,
Right.
but you're still looking at 2 hours, 2.5 hours of solid music.
Actually, there it started out to be 4 hours because it initially was set to be like 6 to 10, but sometimes downtown people aren't really getting out until much later.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were starting to play, and there wouldn't really be that many people in here.
Yeah.
So then it got later and later and later. So it's kind of become more of a 7 to 10 when it's a healthy crowd.
Right.
The whole
Right.
time.
Well, and I would just pause for a second. And 3 hours of anything is hard, especially when you're having to do what you do, which is remember lyrics, remain reasonably entertained by what you're doing, and deal with hey, can y'all play? Can you do Tennessee Whiskey for the 90th time or whatever? Hey, Brown Eyed Girl, it's my daughter's birthday. Or, while it looks like, and I think a lot of people have the idea that playing music is that we love it so much that we're just going to do it. And hey, if you pay me, great.
Right.
And if not, that's fine.
But actually, it's become kind of nice and fun when someone does request something odd or off the wall, even if it's well known, like Tennessee Whiskey or whatever.
Yeah.
Because we'll play like a 30-second, snip
Like
of it,
a verse.
And it's done.
and it's
Right.
fun, and they're happy, and
they're
we're kind
just
of
as
laughing
happy as
because
if
we're
we
like,
played the whole
hey,
thing.
we kicked that off like we did it. Like,
Yeah, that's nice. Looking around.
We know what we're
Right?
doing.
Are they still? Is he still looking at us? Is he still? He went to the bathroom.
Is that the right key? Really?
I have the thing like, hey, do you take requests? Like, yeah, I take them. But you can put them. I don't play them necessarily, but I take the crap out.
We always offer that we can butcher any song that you
Right.
request.
Well, I can do the first 10 seconds of just about anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if they've had enough to drink, you're like, like you said, like,
Oh,
hey,
that sounds
Don,
great.
yeah, in the back of the room going, woo. No, that's great. That's great. So it was your set list. She calls you, you come along, and you guys do that one gig together.
Right.
As Alli and Kira.
Right.
And then that's when you come along and just basically elbowed yourself into this whole situation.
It wasn't quite that much.
Yeah.
They were playing at Carson's, and I went to see them.
Right.
Here's my sister. She invited me.
Okay.
And she was like, it's not really crowded. Do you want to come up and sing some songs with us? I
Oh,
was
there
like,
you go.
yeah, sure. And then she's like, well, you got your drum. You can just come play if you want. Cool, let's go. You know, and it just kind of.
But like you said, once you have that added part, and then you without it, you're kind of like, this is totally different.
Right.
You
It's
know?
very naked music.
So
Yeah.
Kara was like, we really just need to have her be part of it. And I was like, you're absolutely right.
Well,
We had more of a draw that way too.
Right,
Even the people that have been coming out to see us even for the whole year, where we have been together as a duo, really made mention of the fact that it just took it to a whole other level.
Yeah, I agree.
It makes it stand out. It's unique.
We're an acoustic band.
Right.
Like, because I mean, we can make it be really full with the added drum.
And just
Three
two
part
guitars.
harmonies,
Right.
two acoustic
And a
guitars.
flute on occasion.
What's kind of funny though is I know you guys had mentioned several times you tried to get in here, but they didn't really want acoustic. You tried to get in here, didn't really acoustic.
Right.
And then they found out we had percussion. They're
Right.
like,
oh,
well,
okay,
it's
come
still
on.
acoustic, but yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
So it actually works for both things
Yeah.
now. So if we have a place that wants just an acoustic setup,
Yeah.
we're still acoustic. And if they want a full band, we're still technically kind of a
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
band.
But
Well,
it's not
so we can-
overpowering. Like
Man,
a
that's
full band.
genius. I never thought about that, but you really can fit into any room
Right.
doing that.
Right.
You could play a wedding and be full, and people can dance, and you can do that, or you can sit at the corner of someplace like Miller's and be mood music. Yeah, that's really good. The other thing, again, as a musician, I can see each of you. When it's 100% full on, it's a very full sound. But if you drop out, take a sip or like whatever,
you've got the
Or
song continues.
I forgot
you
this
know?
chord progression. Kira, have it.
Right,
You know?
exactly, right. No, it gives a lot of you, I mean, all of you,
Right.
the room to kind of move around a little
Right.
bit. That's really great.
Space to breathe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't feel like everything's relying on you.
Mhm.
You're not carrying the whole show playing
Right.
solid guitar.
Yeah.
You know, we get to play off of each other, and you know, just it's a space to breathe. Everybody gets a moment.
So when we're talking economics earlier. I mean, like, at some point you play a place and you realize we're a band now and we can do this and we're getting paid and this is great. But there's also a creative moment when the two of you are playing and then she comes up, and plays and you're like, okay, we're gonna do this because this is no longer going to be a temporary thing. Like, we're going to do this. Do you remember what that was and where you all just kind of looked at each other and said, next gig we're playing, we're going to get a name and this is who we are?
It wasn't really a defining
Right,
moment.
that's what I was.
It just kind of all merged together at one
Yeah.
point, and then I know we were like, okay, we're sick of that Alli or Katie. If we get somebody else, we're gonna have 4 names.
Right.
What is it gonna be? And then so we just, I know we all amongst the 3 of us took a poll. What's our favorite song? Maybe we should just go with our favorite song
Yeah.
name. And I know we picked a few, but we finally settled on Babylon by David Gray.
Great song.
And then we're like, we need a name to go, another word to go with it, And so we picked some words that we thought would go. I can't remember what, Rising Babylon. I don't remember what all they were now, but we texted everyone we knew. We took a poll. What do you think of all these with Babylon? And
Kelly, my friend Kelly.
and she
out of the
Kelly,
blue, a friend comes like, "What about this word?" She said,
that was it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
we dropped
That's
all
it.
the other ones and we
Yeah, that's
stuck with
great.
Seeking and
Yeah.
Seeking Babylon.
And that was
worked.
how long ago you said?
2 years ago.
Yeah. And so you get this one gig, you progress to Seeking Babylon, and now you kind of jumpstart this schedule. You guys play a lot.
Yeah.
And so,
and we're very, very appreciative.
Oh
We
yeah,
are.
we
We
were.
actually tried to back down on our dates.
We
This year.
did.
We fell miserably at that. We're still playing
We're,
a
we're
ton.
like, okay, this year just 2 or 3 a month, and then I was like, what in the world happened to May? And look at June. Well, we're playing like 6, 7 times. What in the world?
I tell you, I think that's a great problem to have. Of
It
course,
is.
No,
It
I'm not
really is.
complaining, but it's just like, whoa, I don't even remember that.
But I think if you're a musician working in a place like Huntsville, I think, and it's changed so drastically in the past year. There are so many places that want live music and will go after you. That if you're a local musician and you have an empty calendar, it's kind of on you.
Right, exactly.
Or maybe you need to rehearse some more, or maybe you need to change up what you're doing. But there are people out there who are calling. I mean, and I'm a part-time solo guy and play in bands here and there, but still, I get a call. I get lots of people looking for solo stuff or acoustic stuff or poolside or whatever. And there are more places opening up to do that. So you find yourself saying, okay, I'm exhausted. We need to back down. We played the same set for the last 2 years. We need to do something different.
Right.
And then suddenly you're like, well, we're playing every weekend in June.
Right.
And it's not that you're not looking at that going, oh my God, we're playing every weekend. You're like,
Right. Yeah.
how did that happen?
When did that happen?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's almost like when you see, Lady Gaga goes off tour and she stays gone for a month or 2 or 3 or 4. It's because she just needs to reset.
Yeah.
And so you've gotten to that point before. And so how do you do it? How do you reset?
We actually have a break coming up. Actually, this show right now is
Yeah, this is
the
our
last one for a month.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a month break right now, which will be nice. It is kind of nice for us to reset, like you're saying.
It usually does not happen.
It
in the
doesn't
summer.
happen very often. We purposely made sure we had a few weeks off right now, but at the same time, it is nice to reset and for us to find new music that we want to do to entertain ourselves. I mean, if you're out there drinking every night and at the bar, I know a lot of folks have a good time and they request a lot of the same songs we play every night. And that's great. We're glad they like them, but just to freshen it up at least for ourselves, we still want some new music.
Sure.
So the break is good for us to be able to take a second, take a breath, and then find our creative juices again to be able to go again and find something new to do, and give them a new show to look at too.
Now, so I did some research and I was looking at all your stuff online. Do you guys write your own stuff and do you throw your originals into your sets?
We do. We haven't had the time really to get them together collectively. Actually, Kira has one that she wrote that we actually do play out, but we have many more. That we're anxious to get together. Like individually, we all have songwriters.
Yeah.
So
We
It's
just
a,
sat down
it's a,
collectively as
it's a
group.
matter of
Not had time to
piecing
actually
it together. Yeah.
Sure.
That's
Well, when
one
you're
of the
not
things.
playing and you have your personal life, you're trying to
Right.
figure out how to
Right.
pay the bills every month, and
Right.
and yeah, and usually your writing time, I guess, is when you would normally be playing your gigs, your own free time. And suddenly, if you don't have free time because you're playing out,
Right.
nothing gets written. So on the writing process, so you said all three of you kind of bring things to the table, and so you'll bring a song idea, or you'll bring a complete song and just deliver it, or how do you do that?
Both, actually.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of times that I've said, I've got
Yeah.
this piece of the song, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, I'm stuck here. Or you know, Kira had this one that we do now. She had it completely done. And
It's been sitting for years. And
Yeah.
just finally said,
Yeah.
hey, I think this would actually be a good song for us to do as a group. Like, I think we would have a good take on it. It would be a good song for
Do you feel like you've gotten? I mean, I know you have a following. Do you feel like you've gotten a name and a following enough where you show up and you've got your little merch table and people buy your stuff, and just kind of like, are you where you probably could or should be doing that
We've already
I
been
think
doing
we-
yeah.
with your music? I mean,
Yeah.
specifically like a CD sitting there and that's your stuff. And
We've been asked
If
for
we've
it
been
asked several times.
probably
We just
a year.
haven't had time to
Right.
stop and record
Yeah.
anything. And we
Right.
actually
Right.
talked about doing that closer to the end of the year when we actually slow down
Mhm.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way we will have time to learn new things and to record or write.
So we're hoping maybe if we can collectively start working on writing now, then by the end of the year, we could possibly
We'll
get a
have
CD or
something,
something out.
Yeah.
Since we have
We've
that
got shirts and
We
Yeah,
got,
yeah.
We got
stickers
shirt
and,
merch and
you know,
stuff
merch
like
Right.
that. Yeah,
that
as
we-
far as on music, we haven't really
Right.
put anything out there
Mhm.
yet. So hopefully by the end of the year we can.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm selfish and I just think about what I want. And so the first time I saw you, I was looking around. I was like, clearly this is when you guys work so well together and have such a relationship together that I was waiting for that. I wanted that. Hey, this is something that we did. And I think you did play one the first time I saw you. But to me, again, as a musician, I'm seeing what you're doing, and clearly there's like the chemistry there to create some really special stuff. And I'm looking around for it. So hurry up. Now you two are sisters, and that just dawned on me about when you said it. I am all about some research, okay? So don't let anybody tell you I don't come into these things not knowing what I'm talking about. And so you're stuck in the middle of this.
I am.
So rehearsals, bad gigs. You're like, are you this sometimes, or is it like throwing cold water on two sisters that are at each other? How does that
We
work?
don't really have rehearsals.
Oh, it's all passive aggression, right?
Kind of.
And you're in the middle, and she's got like kind of throwing her hands anyway. She's ready to.
she's in the middle. So if I
Sometimes
screw up, this one throws
She
the guitar
throws
pick.
picks at her, and
And
they
she
hit me
misses
in the
her.
side of the head most of the time. And I'm like, did I miss a chord? What?
All
Like,
right.
I'm thinking I
That's
did
pretty
something.
good.
It's tough
That's
love,
pretty good.
right?
That's pretty good. But you obviously get along pretty well. Even though before we started, they made you sit in the middle just to avoid any controversy.
Yeah, and we gotta keep them under control.
I got it. All right. So do y'all hang out when you're not playing, or
Actually,
We're
these two are
neighbors.
neighbors.
We live across the street.
Sisters,
Like literally.
neighbors?
Like I can throw football.
So even if you wanted to stop doing this, you can't stop doing this. I mean, it's done. You can't. Like you can't get rid of her from genetics, and you can't get rid of her unless you move. All right, that's nice. Okay, so if I wanted to come see you, you're playing. You're playing Lumberyard tonight, but I'm not going to get this video up tonight. So sorry.
Right.
No worries.
This is all ancient history by now. Where is your normal path? Where do you guys normally do?
Well, it's usually once a month at Lumberyard.
Mm-hmm.
Salty Nut, several times, throughout a few months.
Yeah.
Every 6 to 8 weeks of salting out.
Right. The Nook,
Yeah.
we're sporadically over there on some Thursday nights.
Do you play on the deck out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, very nice.
And is it covered there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I guess.
even if it rains, we
Yeah,
play.
they've even got it covered now,
things
like
that
on the
come out.
sides and everything.
Okay.
So,
All right. And where else?
Miller's Tavern.
Miller's,
Mhm.
we're still there.
We're at
Still
Inner Space.
Yep, Inner Space.
Yeah.
We're talking with a couple other people, trying to get into there. So like Bar 805,
Yeah.
like boot camps, stuff like that. So
So I know.
we play at Humphreys, of course, it's
Yeah.
in October right now, but
Right.
Yeah.
How long have y'all been in Huntsville?
I think it's 11 years.
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to tell you that I was born and raised here, and your laundry list of the places to play is nothing short of miraculous. I mean, the fact that there are so many places that pay good money
Yeah.
for good music is pretty amazing. When I was growing up here, and I realized that was an awfully long time ago, but when I was growing up here, handful maybe.
Right, right.
and some of them you wouldn't want to go.
Right.
They just happen to also have music. So you're like, you know, which hepatitis strain am I going to be exposed to tonight just to see a good band? And now it's like we have places where your kids can come,
Exactly.
your dog can come. I mean,
that's
suddenly
so
it's
cool.
like we're a big, well, we're a real city. We're becoming a real city. You just said 10 or 12 places that you can go to tonight to see live music, which is pretty astonishing. So of all those places, and I don't want you to play super favorites, but is there a place that you kind of like better than, like that's good? You like the stage, you like the sound, always a good experience?
I think all the places we play kind of have their.
I think they're all unique in their own way.
Correct, yeah.
Because you just touched on it. There's some places where our sound just, man, we even talk about it like, man, that mix was great tonight. You know, just how it resonates in
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah.
Some places are just the vibe. You know, just being out or
Just
on
chill.
a patio or a deck.
Yeah.
You know, and other places is maybe the ambiance. You know, like different. So I think they're all very unique.
Yeah.
We bring different crowds to the
Right,
so
right.
it's, it just depends on the night and where you're playing. But it's the crowd that's going to show up. And sometimes that kind of pushes you into a certain vibe that night yourself.
Right.
You get feedback off the crowd.
Right.
My favorite thing though is when you walk in someplace and they go, "Oh yeah, you're back." That's my favorite. So they know they're going to do great on bar that night.
Yeah.
Plus they like you. I mean, they generally do like hearing it. You
Right.
see them dancing behind the bar.
There's not a whole lot better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't, of course, don't want anybody to roll their eyes when they see you walk in the door, but it's really nice
Right.
to have some
It is
validation.
very nice. It is
It's
very
always
nice.
great when the staff perks up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just like any musician in Huntsville would say, I mean, the fans, it's all because of them.
Yeah.
I mean, we have great fans. I know every musician in Huntsville has great fans. Because I get to, every once in a while, I get to go to, some of the other shows.
Right.
And, it's the same thing. And it's great. It's one of the great things about Huntsville.
Well,
because everyone has
yeah.
that appreciation,
And Huntsville actually has such an awesome music scene.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's actually probably better than some of the other larger cities around.
Yeah.
Some of the people that we've gotten to share the stage with, it's been great.
The talent
I
here in
mean,
Huntsville is great. And
yes.
the people that like to come out and listen to music, they're receptive to new music. They're receptive to,
Right.
it's not, you don't have to play all the number one pop songs. You can play stuff that is more obscure that's,
Right.
more for you, and they're receptive to it.
So tell me, if so, there are going to be people who are seeing you for the first time here and learning. I can't imagine because you guys are like freaking all over the place. No one needs to seek Babylon anymore. It's been found. No, but there are going to be people who are going to be exposed to you for the first time, maybe going to see you for the first time. Tell me, give me your elevator pitch on what your style is and what can they expect when they come see you.
It's always a hard question to
It is
answer.
I think we typically say it's an acoustic rock band. We do a little bit of classic rock, some pop, little R&B.
Anything from like the 80s, 90s till today type music.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't do a lot of country. Maybe there's some stuff in there.
That's usually our 5-second tease.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play some country. Sure. Here's some Garth Brooks. There you go. Be happy.
What song is in your set right now that you really nail, that you feel like is kind of like that you click on really well right now?
We've got several actually.
I would say one that we've talked about whenever we do record to possibly do it later on and put it down on something. Come Pick Me Up, Ryan Adams.
Yeah.
I think we actually, I'm not trying to pat our own backs, but I think we do a good version of that. It's not necessarily just like the album by any means. We've kind of created it and made it our own. It has a good vibe to it. It's got harmonies on it. It moves.
Yeah.
The whole way through. I think it's a good song for us.
Quick production timeout. We're next to the hospital. We're fine. Someone clearly is not, but we are okay. It just, you find a great place to record and you just kind of deal with it. Live studio audience. All right, so that was your song that you click on. Is there a I guess a pattern to how you bring music to each other? Like you walk in, you're like, I got a great song for you. You play it and go through. You're like,
Yeah, that happens a
That
lot.
happens a lot, yeah.
all right. So
I mean,
how do you?
Sometimes we're like, we'll try it. I don't really like it. Well, it's all right. I guess we can do
We
it.
definitely have that. But then there are those that were like, hey, I want to do something, let's do it. And everybody's like, I like that song too.
Yeah.
I think we all keep a running list
We do.
somewhere
I
so
just
that we
put
can
another one in
kind of,
my phone.
yeah.
I would guess there are songs that you have played that you're like, okay, I'll play this for her, but I really do not like this song. And then you get like halfway into it and you're like, all right, maybe we can.
Yeah.
Maybe this is, or like you're in the middle of a song and you're like, we have got to pull this piece of trash out right now. I guess that happens for everybody.
I
So
think we also have songs we pitch to each other and we're like sitting for practice and they're going, this is not going to work. And then we get out in front of a crowd and, it's just because you're sitting in a living room practicing it and you're like, whatever. And then you get out in front of a crowd and they're like, woo! And it actually was a good song.
Okay, that's our last practice actually. Alli and I were like, let's go on
like this. And you're sitting playing it out and then you realize, okay, that actually is kind of fun when you get in front of a crowd. It's not more fun if you're sitting in your living room playing it, but it's fun.
all right, so I know that you guys play to packed rooms all the time. You've got a loyal following, and all that stuff is just all those boxes are checked for you now. But what's the worst gig you remember playing? The time where you don't have to name names, you don't have to tell me where it was, but just like give me the situation. Like is there an overall worst gig, like one that just comes out to you?
I mean, we all have off nights, but I don't think there's ever been
Like when you lose power in the middle, or it starts to rain, or somebody gets beat up.
Or
Or,
that amp that got fried at the show one night, but we just pulled up some bar stools and we played
literally
full on acoustic.
unplugged.
Yeah.
We just kept it going.
lemonade,
And
man,
actually,
out of your
right.
lemons.
And, and actually, we had a lot of compliments on that show. That
Yeah,
night.
we
Everybody
really
actually
did.
just kind of pulled their chairs in and kind of
Oh,
hugged
yeah.
around. It was almost
We
like
meant to do
campfire.
that.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah, so
It ended up being kind of fun. All
It was-
that
it
stuff,
was
and we had
fun.
to replace our PA.
other than that, I had to replace the PA, and I was kind of still boiling. All
Yeah,
night
you
long.
were.
But it was okay after that. But I don't think we have any.
Even that one wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that
Right.
bad.
The PA.
I mean, you have nights when you're, they could have just turned on a radio and really
Yeah.
even spent the money on this. And I don't mean that in a bad way. We're always appreciative when we have a show to go up and show up to.
But sometimes you're just tired and you show up
But,
and you're there.
Yeah.
I could think of a worse one. I mean, it's like, you can have off nights or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one at Tip Top in the later days of Tip Top, where we were playing to nearly nobody, and a fight breaks out. When there's only 6 people at your show and 2 people start beating each other up, like you're really
Now,
gonna
I have
hurt.
played shows like that.
Yeah.
Where I was like literally behind chicken wire.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And you're playing some little like Wonderful Tonight,
Mm-hmm.
Eric Clapton, and fights, pool tables. I mean, people.
Because when you walk
quite
in, you're like, I
entertaining.
wonder why that's
Thank
there.
goodness this is
Right, and then you're like, oh.
I'm never coming back to this place again.
That's why that's there. Well,
Protection for you.
Right?
so you guys, if someone wanted to come see you, obviously got a Facebook page, and your schedule is up there, and on Instagram. What is your Instagram handle? See, all about research. And if I go to Facebook, I can just find Seeking Babylon and go like your page.
Facebook wouldn't let me change it to just Seeking Babylon, so it still has like our names,
Yeah, it's still
and
Alli, Kira, Katie.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
Seeking Babylon is in there. But,
Yeah.
so you can
search
search
it.
it.
Sure. Well, yeah, you'll be pretty easy to find. Okay, man, you guys are so awesome for doing this. I mean, I really you realize that you're in my top 10. First episodes, top 10. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for
having
coming
us.
next to the hospital and coming to me.
Yeah.
You guys tonight at the Lumberyard. You're
Yes.
going to be amazing. If I can keep Margaret from going to sleep or keeping her off her phone, maybe we can come down and check you out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are just the best. And I'm going to look for the CD about Q1 2020. Okay.
All right.
And I've already met
We'll
some.
have to dedicate it to Bill, by the way.
Oh my God, hang on. That's big stuff right there. All right. Now listen, there are also some people who I will be interviewing soon, and some folks that I've already talked to, who have some really high-end studios in Huntsville. I mean, Mac everything and the whole Pro everything, like in their garages. Like where Hunter recorded his.
Okay.
I'm not trying to present that to you as serious, but just like when I was growing up, I mean, studio time was $200 an hour,
Right. Yeah.
and an hour that's like wrapping cables. So there's tons of ways to
Yeah,
record.
any suggestions, please?
I'm actually just breaking down your excuses right now. I really don't care where you record. I'm just like, I want to get my hands on that CD.
All right.
Okay, Seeking Babylon, Katie, Alli, Kira, you guys are just fantastic, and you've already seen them. I know because they've got half of Huntsville coming to their show tonight already. But if you haven't, you'll see Seeking Babylon soon on a stage around here. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're the best.